Hello everybody, Daniel here. As I may have alluded to last week, this is a Pokemon I don't like very much. This is Glalie, number 362. It was first released in 3rd generation, and it's been crap since the moment it existed. Even design-wise, I'm not a fan of it. It's in the NU tier. It has 3 abilities: Inner Focus, which is pretty good, it stops it from being able to be flinched; Ice Body, which is not any good because nothing in the NU tier can use Hail, it would heal health in Hail; and Moody, which is banned in metagames, so you're never going to see it. Just so you know what it does, it raises one stat by 2 stages and lowers 1 stat by 1 stage every turn. And it's random, so you can see why it's banned. Base stats, 80 across the board. This is pretty poor on every front, because it means no matter what you try and get Glalie to do, it's not going to be particularly good at it. The problem is that with it being an ice type only, it only has 1 resistance, and that is itself. And to make things worse, it has 4 type weaknesses, 3 of which are very common, and obviously Stealth Rock is included in that as well, which means any defensive set is going to be a nightmare for it. Which is ironic, because set 1, the inverted commas common set, is relatively defensive in terms of its lineup. The idea is you'll probably lead with this, I would imagine, if you're insane enough to use it, and you will either taunt whatever's there or lay a load of spikes before dying inevitably. The idea is to use a focus sash just in case your opponent decides that Glalie is a glass cannon and just decides to demolish it before he gets to do anything, because odds are you will be outsped, even in the NU tier. So you get as many spike sets up as you can, whether that be immediately or later on in the game, and then you either try and hit things with Ice Fang or Crunch. You could, if you really wanted to, use Explosion, but I would not recommend this for 2 reasons. 1, Glalie at least can make good death fodder, and 2, Explosion was nerfed in this generation, so even with full investment and a base 80 attack, you're still not going to do that much. It's quite underwhelming. Much like Electrode explosions, they look very impressive, but they don't do a whole lot. You have to run jolly because you have to hopefully outspeed, so taunt's not a massive waste of time. And the EVs are pretty obvious: maximize your speed, maximize your attack, because even if you maximize your defenses, you're not going to last very long being pure ice, and throw the 4 wherever you want. Like I've noted in the corner there, this is the only Glalie set you're probably ever going to see, because, well, if you're desperate enough to use Glalie, frankly, this is the only set that even vaguely works. But obviously I couldn't just have 1 set for a Pokemon of the Week, so I had to dig deep and come up with 2 sets that could work, but you'll just never see, because that's the first set is the set you use Glalie for. Being base 80 and everything means that a Pokemon is always better than it at doing whatever job you want it to do. But at least if you put a choice band on it, like the second set here, you can at least make use of the fact that it does have a priority move in the form of Ice Shard to abuse. Think of it as you will, as a really, really inferior Weavile in that regard. Base 80 on your attack just is not going to cut the mustard with anything, but this is the way to go if you're going to have to go this way, and that is to put a choice band on it to make its base 80 reasonable. Obviously you want to put Ice Fang alongside it perhaps. This is just for the power benefit in case you outspeed actually the Pokemon that you think is going to be against you. Then you have a choice of 2 from 3. You can choose Crunch, because the NU tier is full of very, very poor psychic types. I mean, absolutely hundreds of them. Slight exaggeration, obviously. You could go for Earthquake, because the most likely Pokemon that will switch into you in NU arguably is Torkoal. So as a result, Earthquake will at least do something to that with a choice band, other than just tickle it like you would do otherwise. The last option is to Explode, which is when you've run out of things to do, and frankly, Ice Shard as a desperate last chance move in the saloon is not going to do tons. Explosion can just blow something up, perhaps, if it's not got a big defense stat. I don't even think with a choice band Explosion is going to take out some of the threats in NU, but at least it's better than doing nothing. And I've actually thought for the 3rd set, Ice types are renowned for their special attack, usually, the exception obviously being things like Mamoswine and Weavile. So there must be some type of special set that Glalie can run, right? The problem with this is that it's just so darn slow. So the way to get around that is to use Icy Wind. Now this will have to be used in the same way you would use a hit and run user, in that you're not going to switch this into things because you're just going to die immediately. The way to use this is to bring Glalie in after one of your own Pokemon has died. Use Icy Wind on hopefully the Pokemon that it switches into you, and then hope that one of the remaining 3 moves you have can kill it. Ice Beam being your stab move of choice over Blizzard because it can't miss really with its 100% accuracy. Dark Pulse is pretty good for synergy actually, not in terms of its typing per se, although it will hit, like I said, a lot of the psychic types that are in this tier. But more importantly, it gives you a flinch opportunity, and combined with Icy Wind, that's good synergy. The other move you can choose is a Hidden Power. Which Hidden Power you pick depends entirely on what you want to hit. If you want to hit water types, which obviously will resist your stab, Hidden Power Grass is the way to go. There are a lot of water types in NU, so bear that in mind. The other alternative is to go for Hidden Power Fighting, which in NU will hit things like Mawile, which will completely and utterly block you otherwise, regardless of which set you run. Even Earthquake isn't going to do tons because most Mawiles have Intimidate and they have better physical defense and special defense, and they're going to stat up on you, and basically it's going to completely crush you. So Hidden Power Fighting is a way to get around that. The one saving grace with Glalie is that the rare dragons in RU and NU, God, if you're brave enough to use it in RU, good luck to you. The dragon types are the one types that will not bother you with this set because you are guaranteed to outspeed any of the 2, I think, RU or NU dragons after you've used Icy Wind. So at least that's one positive. See, I can find something good about it. Obviously maximise your special attack and speed when you're doing this. Modest is definitely the nature of choice because you're going to be lowering their speed anyway. And like I said, Snow Warning I believe is legal in the metagame from UU downwards, so using Ice Body is pointless. So stick to Inner Focus, even though that's a bit null and void when you're outspeeding everything. An Expert Belt is the way to go. You can use arguably a Life Orb, but I feel Life Orb recoil combined with Icy Wind's mediocre power isn't the most logical thing to do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hate Glalie and I don't recommend using it, but in NU it does at least have some traits that are going for it. But I would use things like Glaceon in NU, to be honest. At least this is vaguely Christmassy and we're coming up across Christmas, so meh. See you next week, everybody. If you enjoyed the video you've just seen, please join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitter for the latest news.